York and currently lives with his wife and 4 daughters in Salt Lake City. So stay tuned for all the topics we have on cash flow with David Safier. I'm your host, Sarah Harbeck, and with me is Michael Payne, and we are concluding our week with our special guest, David Safier. He's been talking about cash flow all week, and I've been learning quite a lot. I hope the rest of you have too. How's it going, David?
It's going great. Good. I'm looking forward to skiing this weekend.
Awesome. Oh, I'm jealous. I like to ski. Although I'm getting a little too old, probably would hurt myself. Where are you guys going to go?
I go to a place called Snow Basin, and it's outside of Salt Lake City, Utah, and it's a place that's well known to the locals, and the tourists leave us alone. It's wonderful.
Awesome. That sounds amazing. I might have to try that out sometime. All right. So we've been talking about cash flow this week, and one of the things we wanted to kind of wrap up today's topic on would be how cash flow can affect your bookkeeping and your business finance tracking, and we can go more in depth with that, because I know we've talked about it a little bit, but we didn't really get to delve into it in all its dirty details. So why don't you give us a rundown of what that all entails?
I'd be glad to. So when you're doing bookkeeping, there's 3 key parts. Number 1 is the people who owe you money. And if you're working on a billing system, you're going to want to know when they owe you the money and how much. And that's number 1. Number 2 is your bills that you have to pay, including payroll, including rent, whatever those bills are, how much and when. Then lastly is just keeping track of that, all of those miscellaneous expenses. So here's the big thing. We talked briefly about accrual-based accounting.
Yes.
And it makes a lot of sense. What accrual-based accounting basically says, it doesn't matter when you receive the cash, it's when you did the invoicing to your client. So if they owe you money in January and you send them an invoice, it's counted as revenue for that month, even if they pay you in February or, God forbid they pay you in March, because it really is a challenge when they pay that late, but it's still considered revenue in January. Okay. That's part of the equation. It's the same thing with expenses. It's not when you write the bill, it's when it's due. So if you are supposed to pay your bill in January, but it slips out to February 2nd, it becomes it stays as a January expense. That's the basis of accrual accounting. You match time period revenue with time period expenses.
What is the benefit of that? Because to me, my brain says if you paid the bill in February, it should count for February, even if it was invoiced in January.
Yeah, and it's really what it does is your business grows. It helps you what's called normalize your revenue, normalize your expenses. So you have, it's called a matching principle to accounting periods.
So it kind of helps you give you an average maybe?
Yeah, and says, okay, January, what really happened in January? Forget about the cash.
Okay.
Which is like a sin to me because that's what I deal with. It says, forget about the cash. Let's just see, what do we invoice and what were we supposed to pay? And therefore, that is a theoretical profit and loss for that month, theoretical balance sheet. But from an accounting perspective, as businesses grow bigger, it's a better way to do it. It sort of, averages or normalizes what the business is doing over time.
Okay.
And that's what we do from the accounting on the PaynePoints side. Is I've actually started it that way and run it as accrual the entire time, because just for my technical brain, managing profit and loss, right, and balance sheets makes a lot more sense under accrual than it does in cash.
It really can. The challenge that we have is when people think that the accrual-based accounting reports they receive equals the cash reports, and it can be completely different.
So those two things don't always line up, is what you're saying.
They usually do not. It's a miracle if they're exactly the same.
So let me ask you this. If you are a small business owner and you have a big enough business where these kinds of things are necessary to help you run your business, how does, I mean, obviously hiring a professional will help you, but how do you make sense of it when you're not familiar with accounting? As a business owner, you're looking at these statements, you have your accrual-based accounting, and then you have the cash flow. Could you maybe give some sort of like word of advice to any of those out there looking and go, this is how you look at this and try to make sense of it? Or is you just say, rely on the professional and they'll tell you?
Well, it would be nice to rely on the professional, but it's your business.
Yeah.
If you don't really have some kind of a grasp, it's too easy to be deceived and wake up one morning and it's not what you thought.
Exactly.
So my suggestion is divide it up. With your P&L accrual-based accounting, you can almost do on a monthly basis, but your cash accounting, especially if you're really trying to do something with your cash, like accumulate it or pay off a debt, you're going to want to do at least weekly. And you can get either a cash management tool, whether it's a spreadsheet or software, that shows you what the cash positions are, as well as account receivable reports, because that's all cash. Accounts payable, that's all cash. You can get reports in cash that help you see what's happening with your cash separately from the P&L.
Okay. So the one is a more real-time, this is what money you have, and the other is more of a, this is an average over a period of time of what you can expect to have or what you would, maybe, kind of base all the rest of your decisions on and know how to budget for the coming months, would you say?
Can I give you one quick example?
Yes, please.
In a service-based company, oftentimes the question is, what's your monthly recurring billing?
Yes.
Right? And so is it $50,000, $100,000, $200,000, regardless of when you get paid for that. And so that's really what accrual-based accounting is all about. Say, okay, we invoiced $100,000 this month. We got paid the next month, $90,000 of that $100,000, but we invoiced it. And the next month we invoiced $100,000. So for a whole year, we invoiced $100,000 per month. It shows you what your pattern is of invoicing.
Gotcha.
The other one is how much you're getting paid.
That's the real time. What's actually in your bank account?
Right. And you have customers who pay you or not.
Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
So when you're, I'm trying to figure out how to word this question I have in my head. If you have, so what you just said about giving $100,000 invoice, but they only paid $90,000 of it. When you are reconciling that at the end of the year, how do these two accounting systems kind of, you have your cash and then you have your P&L, and you invoice this one thing in 1 month, but they only paid this much the next month. How does that all work out, trying to keep track of how much money you have in real time? Is it just keeping the books as accurately as possible, and that way, you have a clear picture? Or to me, that seems like a lot of discrepancy. Hey, we billed $100,000, so that counted for January, but they only paid $90,000 in February, and then they only said $75,000 in March, and that seems like my brain is very linear and very numbers based, and so to me that just seems like, oh my God, that's not lining up at all. How do you figure that out?
There's a fairly simple report called the Accounts Receivable Report, and it tells you who owes you money.
Okay.
And so you can see that your customer, the Jones Company, they owe you $10,000 from January, $5,000 from February, and the rest of the year is paid up.
Gotcha.
And so they have really nice little package reports that help a brain like yours see numbers lined up very easily.
Oh, that just sounds delicious then, because the way I hear it sometimes, or the way I read it, it's like, oh, that sounds really confusing.
Yeah, it's tough to have a conversation. There's all these numbers floating around in your head and these concepts, but you can run good, solid reports. And you guys use Wave or QuickBooks or whatever other zero accounting, they'll have these reports.
And they're very
that'll help you
visually
with it.
based that show you kind of where your stuff is going, correct?
Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
Awesome. Any final words on just cash flow and your experience, and any little tidbits of expertise you want to impart to our listeners and to Mike and myself?
Well, just the one thing I would mention is this. Any given thing that we've talked about is fairly simple. As a collection, it might seem overwhelming. If somebody wants to get started, I'd suggest they just do one small thing a week or one large project a month. And that means over the course of the year, you can get 50 things done that are small, that'll add up, or 12 good-sized projects a month, and you'll have a great cash management and cash optimization process by the end of a year.
Yeah. Just take one bite at a time, as they say.
One bite at a time.
Eat an elephant one bite at a time. Well, David, I can't tell you how much we appreciate you being here with us this week and giving us your expertise and knowledge on the issue of cash flow, which I think is something every small business owner needs to pay more attention to. We've really enjoyed having you. We look forward to hopefully having you back. Thanks so much. We hope your weekend skiing is absolutely fabulous.
Thank you so much, Sarah and Michael. Thank you. It's been a pleasure this week, and I look forward to coming back sometime soon.
Yes, definitely. That's going to be all from us today. Thanks for tuning in. And as always, if you have any questions or comments or things you'd like to add to today's topic, or if you'd like to be a guest speaker, you can find us at our website, PaynePoints.com, Facebook and LinkedIn at PaynePoints, Instagram at Payne.points, and Twitter at PointsPayne. You can now call or text us at 855-729-6378, which is 855-PAYNE-POINT, PAYNEPT. Today's guest and this week's guest, David Saphir. You can find his information on LinkedIn at dsaphir, or you can go to his website, davidsaphir.com, or email him at david@davidsaphir.com. We hope everyone had a great day, and now let's get to work.